It's Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From the Associated Press, Chilean voters reject conservative constitution after defeating leftist charter last year. Over the weekend, Chilean voters rejected a new, incredibly far-right constitution proposal, 55.8% to 44.2%, not long after also voting against an incredibly left-leaning variation in 2022. Chileans have been trying to replace or update the current constitution, which is considered to be flawed in many ways and which was written while the country's former dictator, Pinochet, was still in power for a long time, but efforts to swap in new, dramatically different versions have thus far been for naught. The existing constitution has been tweaked in small ways in recent years, and the country's government has said, in the wake of this most recent failed vote, that they will be keeping the current constitution for the foreseeable future, though probably with minor adjustments here and there. From Reuters, Eurozone likely in recession, PMI surveys show. Last quarter's economic data suggests that the Eurozone economy shrunk by 0.1%, and this month's Purchasing Managers' Index indicates that activity across the zone has declined every month in the final quarter of 2023, which means it has seen 2 consecutive quarters of contraction, meeting the region's official definition of an economic recession. This persistent downturn is likely the consequence of a deterioration of production levels in Germany, a drop in demand in France, and economic instability across the bloc, resulting from macro-scale influences like inflation and the war in Ukraine, combined with localized issues, including those related to government spending on the transition to renewables. Major economies globally have been suffering from the same effects, though numbers out of the UK suggest it might barely avoid its own recession, while data from the US hint that it may achieve a long-teased but often doubted soft landing back into steadier financial straits after a period of post-pandemic economic wobbliness. And from Axios, U.S. Steel agrees to be acquired by Japan's Nippon Steel for $15 billion. Following a period of will they, won't they buyout offers from American companies, U.S. Steel has agreed to be acquired by Japanese giant Nippon Steel for about $14.9 billion. That represents a purchase price of about 40% higher than the company was valued at on the last trading day before the buyout was announced, and it's quite a lot more than those American companies were offering back in August. This is notable in part because U.S. Steel is both a super iconic American company, which will now be owned by a Japanese company if regulatory bodies approve the sale, but also because it's a fairly vital strategic entity, the U.S. economy and military, both relying on it for some component of their materials-related well-being. If you're finding some value in one-sentence news, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.